Class 12. So today we are going to do the poem Crossing the Bar. It is written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So Alfred Lord Tennyson belongs to Victorian era, and children, Victorian era was an era that was full of conflicts, struggles. Number of scientific theories have taken place. And the most famous one was Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Because of this theory, the Christian faith of people has been shattered, right? Trembled. Till now, people believe that God is the creator of this world, but this theory of evolution has shown them that it's a biological process. So, the people's faith in God, in religion, started shaking. The same thing happened with the poet also, but he regained his faith just before his death. Few years before his death, he regained his Christian faith again. So this poem, it shows his faith. Clear? It was written in 1889, 3 years before the poet's death. So this poem is an expression of thanksgiving. The poet was 80 years old and he recovered from a serious illness. And this poem represents his belief also, his faith also. He believed that at the end of his life, clear, after his death, he will meet his savior, he will meet his pilot. Got it? So, and here he has taken the metaphor of a ship that is going for a long voyage, crossing the sandbars. Clear? The ship is going to enter into the sea. So he has taken the metaphor of the sandbar. If we see the literal meaning, so we'll find that this poem, it describes a voyage across the sandbar at the harbor's entrance into the sea. Clear? But if we find the deeper meaning, this is an allegorical poem. Allegorical poems are the poems that are having two meanings. Clear? One is literal meaning and another is symbolic meaning. So on the literal surface, we find that this poem describes a journey, voyage of a ship that cross the sandbar, then enter into harbor and then enter into sea. But in the deeper level, we will find, clear, that this voyage, it is a metaphor for the final journey of men, the journey after death. Clear? So the poem, it begins with a description of a ship that is about to sail on a long voyage at sunset when the evening star is visible. Sunset and evening star and one clear call for me, and may there be no morning of bar when I put out to sea. Clear? The ship is ready for its voyage. Fine. It is about to sail on a long voyage at sunset when the evening star is visible in the sky. Is it clear? Fine. As the sun sets, the light of the evening star, this evening star refers to Venus, clear, that acts like a signal for the sailors to start. Clear? The light of this evening star, it acts like a beacon light, it acts like a signal light for the mariners. So we see that the ship is ready for its voyage after sunset when the evening star rises and acts as a signal light for the mariners. But on the deeper level, if we find, as death and dying is the main theme of the poem, we'll find sunset refers to the old age. It symbolizes the old age. Fine. So, and one clear call for me. After a formal announcement, the one clear call, the ship will sail out of the harbor, across the sandbar, clear, at the harbor's entrance, and then enter into the sea. Fine. When the sun sets, the evening star rises, the mariners will got a formal call, one clear call, and they will start their journey. The ship will cross the sandbar, enter into the harbor's entrance, and then enter into the sea. And here, this one clear call is the call of death. The poet will go on his journey after his old age. It is old age when he die. The call of death, after one clear call, after the death, he will embark his journey, his afterlife journey. And may there be no mourning of the bar when I put out to sea. As the poet is going in an unknown sea, clear, or afterlife, so he hopes for a gentle crossing out of the harbor without any mourning, without any turbulence, clear, when he was put to sea. So children, here the sandbar, it separates the harbor from the sea. Sandbars क्या होते हैं? That separates harbor from the sea. So here the sandbar is a demarcation between life and death. When the poet will cross that sandbar, clear, when he die, he cross that sandbar, he will start his afterlife journey that is unknown to him, and he expect for a gentle crossing out of the harbor without any turbulence. Fine? Is it clear? But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from the boundless deep turn again home. Right? So here in the next stanza, but such a tide as moving seem asleep, too full for sound and foam. You know, children, when the ship reaches to harbor, the tide helps it to reach into the ocean, to enter into the ocean. The tide make its passage smooth. It helps the ship to enter into the ocean smoothly. So the speaker want a tide that is too full for sound and foam, that seems asleep, that is moving but seems asleep, so that his ship could cross the harbor and enter the sea. Clear? The speaker, the poet, he hopes for the tide that is too full for sound and foam. Clear? One that is moving but appears to asleep. He hopes that his end will come quietly without any turmoil. Clear? When that which drew out the boundless deep turn again home, with the soul returning to eternity as a tide returned to the depth of the ocean. The tide helped the ship to enter into the ocean and then return back to the depth of the ocean. Similarly, clear, his transition from life to death should be quiet without any turmoil, and his soul return to eternity from where it has come. Right? So the speaker, he finds comforts in the fact that his journey is both. It is a departure from the life and it is a homecoming. Why? Because soul is returning to the place from where it has come. Is it clear? So that suggests that the journey from life to death, it is just a part of a cycle of birth and death, which every human being has to go through. Is it clear? Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. Now, like the first stanza, where the speaker hear the clear call, clear, here he hears the sound of the evening bell at twilight. Clear? So here twilight, it suggests the approaching darkness. Fine. After the twilight there will be dark. So it suggests the approach of darkness. Fine. And or we can say here literally, symbolically, if we say, it suggests, it implies the impending death of the poet, and he hears the sound of the evening bell. Clear? So the evening bell, it appears like a death bell that is sounded, that is ring when somebody dies. Is it clear? twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark. So he hear the sound of the evening bell, the death bell, right? The sound of his impending death, and after that the dark, and after that there will be dark. Is it clear? And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. Now the poet has sensed his end. He has sensed that he is going to die. So he hopes for a cheerful departure. He don't want anyone to be sad at his death. He wishes for no sadness of farewell when he set out on his final journey. From out our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far. I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. And in the final stanza, the poet points out the significance of his journey. Fine. From out our bound means boundaries of time and place, the flood may bear me far. So here he said that the flood, the waves, clear? The flood, the sea, it would enable the ship to cross the bar and finally enter the ocean. Right? The flood will help the ship, the flood will take the ship out from the boundary of the sandbars and help the ship to enter into the ocean, finally enter into the ocean. So he says that his final departure, his death, will carry him, the flood of death will carry him far beyond the limits of time and place. The flood will carry him far from the boundaries of time and place. The flood will carry him to eternity. It will help him to enter into the sea, into the journey of afterlife. Clear? I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. These lines shows his firm Christian faith. He hopes that when the flood will take him away far beyond the limits of time and place, he would be able to see his pilot face to face. Is it clear? So here pilot is God. Clear? God in disguise of a qualified mariner who steered the ship through troubled water in and out of the harbor. So the poet hopes to see his pilot after he has crossed the bar, after he dies, when his soul will return back to the journey of eternity. He hopes to see his pilot face to face. Is it clear? So children, it is a symbolic poem. Clear? The poet is comparing his dying to the departure of a ship on a voyage into an unknown ship. As the ship is going into a voyage in an unknown sea and it feels no fear. Clear? Similarly, the poet after his death, he will go into the journey, afterlife journey. He has completely surrendered himself to God. Is it clear? And he is very much sure that he will see God. Clear? When he has crossed the bar. Thank you. Revise it carefully. Thank you.